Hello everyone, back to tuning into today's video. Going to have a look at the weather for the next 10 to 14 days for today's video. Day 10 will take us to the 5th of December and we'll be able to extend out beyond that with the GFS and ECM ensembles. Maybe around a couple of weeks we'll have a look at CFS V2 at the end of the video for the next 4 weeks, and that gets us into the second half of January. I should get on that for you in a moment. So just to say, there was a 6 AM forecast released today as I took Christmas night off, so I didn't get that recorded last night. The 6 AM forecast will be back tomorrow, and we'll also have Strat Watch tomorrow as well, and we'll be live at 6 PM with the 10 to 14 days. So after things being a little bit quieter on Christmas Day and today, then things will start getting a little bit more back towards normal from tomorrow onwards. However, we will cut back on some of the additional updates and add-ons, so we won't be doing all of the videos that we would do in a regular week, but most of the videos will be back, and watch this space on that. I'm down with a little bit of a cold, started coming down with that yesterday, started coughing. There's so much going about this winter, isn't there? No, you gotta bear with me. I'll probably have a little as we go along. Right, we're going to start off with Boxing Day. I hope you're having a lovely Boxing Day as well, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in on your Boxing Day. And I hope you had a lovely, lovely Christmas Day yesterday, of course. Right, okay. Please bear with me, everybody, with this cough. Right, let's start off with the Arctic Oscillation band observed and forecast. So the black line shows where we've been with the excuse me, once again, with the AO, the red lines at the end where the GFS Ensembles are forecasting the Arctic Oscillation to go. So we have been very positive with the AO through the second half of December, through the middle part of the month into the second half of December. Really, really positive AO condition. We are still positive with the Arctic Oscillation, but it's coming down. And as we go through into January, we find that the Arctic Oscillation being predicted to go negative, quite strongly negative actually, with the Arctic Oscillation as we push further on into January. Remember, the AO is just an index that's reflecting the atmospheric state. It doesn't drive anything. Excuse me, again, in its own terms, it just tells us what the atmosphere is doing. So when the Arctic Oscillation is in a positive phase, then we have got low pressure over the Arctic over the North Pole. When the AO is negative, though, we've got high pressure, we've got blocking over the Arctic over the North Pole, and blocking is the route to getting cold air out of the pole down into mid-latitude. So when you see the AO going from being strongly positive, well, because being so mild as well recently, so when it goes from being strongly positive to strongly negative, this tells you that there is a significant pattern change starting to take place within the high latitudes, and higher pressure blocking is beginning to get going. Now, of course, the key with this is, though, where is the blocking sitting? Excuse me again, everybody. Where is the blocking sitting? That's the key to where the cold air gets pushed out to. So that's how the AO is looking. This is how the NAO observes and forecast is looking. So again, the NAO, of course, an index that's reflecting the atmospheric state, doesn't drive anything in its own term, but it does tell us what the atmosphere is doing. So when the NAO is positive, then we've got low pressure around ice and high pressure through the resource. We strengthen the zone of westerly flow. When the NAO goes negative, though, we weaken the low pressure around ice and actually get higher pressure there and lower pressure through the Azores. Now you can see that after being very strongly positive with the NAO, we find that as we go into January, the NAO starts coming down back to neutral and then actually goes weakly negative. So we've got the NAO going weakly negative, we've got the AO predicted to go strong negative, which could well be an indication for a colder pattern, therefore, to set up into early January. So it's just signs that after this very mild December, other than the first day or so, after this very mild December, we might be on course for quite a significant pattern change. Could that be related to the sudden stratospheric warming event that we've been talking about? Let's see how that's looking on this Boxing Day. So warming already gathering down across southern Europe and now starting to push up into southwestern parts of Russia as well. These blue and purple colours means are the cold temperatures at 10 HPA excuse me, over the North Pole. So as we run through into December, the first warming gathers pace there, number 28 tonight over Siberia, quite a significant warming. That intensifies and strengthens further as we go into the opening days of January, starting also to push that intense stratospheric warming from Russia and Siberia in towards the North Pole too. What happens after that? Well, the warming does get into the pole. That's probably going to be enough to start sending the solar wind into reverse. So we don't get a split of the polar vortex, we get what we call a displacement event. These blue and the purple colours getting pushed out of the pole and into northern parts of Europe and into the North Atlantic as well. So no split on this GFS run of the polar vortex, but there is a displacement, excuse me, a displacement event. Let's have a look at GFS Ensembles very quick, see if any of those are going for a split of PV. So this is the control run. That is going for displacement event into early January. This is Ensemble member number 1. That is going for a split of the polar vortex. Ensemble member number 2 looks like that. So displacement event with that one. Ensemble member number 3 splits the polar vortex. Ensemble member number 4 is a displacement event. Ensemble member number 5, displacement event. Ensemble member number 6 is a displacement event. Ensemble member number 7, displacement event with that one. Ensemble member number 8 splits the polar vortex. Ensemble member number 9 looks like this, displacement event. Ensemble member number 10 splits the PV. Ensemble member number 11. So you get the idea, it really is touch and go, whether it's going to be displacement or a split. Ensemble member number 11 is splitting the polar vortex. Ensemble member number 12 is displacing the polar vortex. Ensemble member number 13 just about splits the PV, but very, very quick comes back together again. So I think we really call that one a displacement, but it's touch and go. Ensemble member number 14 looks like that one is splitting the PV, a little bit anyway. Ensemble member number 15 looks like that. That one properly splits the polar vortex. Ensemble member number 16, displacement event with that one. Ensemble member number 17, displacement event. Ensemble member number 18. How's number 18 looking? Let's have a look. So that one splits the PV. Ensemble member number 19 is a displacement event. Ensemble member number 20, displacement event. Ensemble member number 21, displacement event. Ensemble member number 22. Oh, so close split with PV, but that's a displacement event, really. Ensemble member number 23. Displacement event. Ensemble member number 24 splits the PV. Ensemble member number 25, displacement event. Ensemble member number 26 splits the PV. Ensemble member number 27, displacement event. Ensemble member number 28, displacement event. Ensemble member number 29. How's that one looking? So that's displacement event. Ensemble member number 30, lastly, looks like that, and that is a displacement event too. So there's still a possibility we might get a split out of this, but I think it's looking more likely it'll be a displacement event of the polar vortex. I'm trying to get the chart up from Weather is Cool to see how many of those ensemble members are reversing the solar wind as well. So hang on in about 2 seconds. Okay, you got the chart up for Weather is Cool. Here we go then. So the green line's up GFS Ensembles. This zero line is all important. Any ensemble member going underneath that zero line is sending the solar wind into reverse. See, there's quite a few of them that are reversing the solar wind. So a classic technical major sudden stratospheric warming occurring in 35% of GFS ensemble members there through the first week to 10 days of January. How interesting is that? So if we get a displacement event and a technical SSW, but it's likely to be atmospheric impacts from that. I always think displacement events, the effect is kind of toned down a little bit compared to a split event, though. So, you know, tend to be more toned down, tend to be shorter lived, not as cold as where we get like a split of a PV. And with those events, you can get a really strong blocking signal that can last several weeks. So let's wait and see anyway how it all develops, and we will be keeping you posted. And we're going to do StratWatch episode 8, I think it will be, tomorrow for you. Central temperature is continuing to rise, so we're now up to 6.9, 7 degrees, at 2.3 degrees above 61.99 average. That's provisional to yesterday, 25th of December, Christmas Day. So it has turned into exceptionally mild December after that really cold start as well. Excuse me again, everybody, after that really cold start. We see that we have in fact turned into a very mild month. I think that's probably about as high as it's going to get. I'd imagine it's going to finish up solidly in the 6s. I don't think it will be a 7 Celsius CT finish. It's going to be a bit cooler through the closing days of the month. So I'd imagine that could finish up maybe somewhere around, I don't know, let's say 6.0 to 6.5 could be where we land up with that. So it will be a very mild December. These are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles in the next couple of weeks. The red lines per year upper air temperature average for Leicester. You can see that we're starting off about average at the moment. We're going to tick up again though tomorrow as it turns wet and windy and a big mild sector comes in with that. And then after that, we're going to see the upper air temperatures slipping backwards into the new year period. Around 2nd, 3rd January, a little bit of a tick up, and then we really see those upper air temperatures sliding quite a lot as we go from the first week into the second week of January, and actually it could start to become quite cold. You see how far the white line is beginning to deviate there from the red line from the long-term 30-year average. So we could start to see, you know, really quite a significant cool down as we go through the first week into the second week of January. Whether that will be related to the SSW, I'm not sure. It possibly it is, but it could be a little bit early to be getting a tropospheric response to the SSW. Although we have had we have actually been displacing the PV over the past week or two. Excuse me, again, everybody have been displacing the polar vortex over the past week or two. And that might be more down to the displacement of the PB and, you know, slight weakening of PB, but we've already had over the past week or two, rather than events around the new year and early January stratosphere-wise. Anyway, cool down looks like it's taking place there through the first week to second week of January. Remember, that is extended range. And precipitation-wise, so it's unreliable. Precipitation-wise, lots of precipitation spikes are included. So further wet weather to come. Let's have a look at snow row for Leicester. There are a few snow spikes there, especially later on when we go into that cooler period just here. There are a few around or just for the new year, interestingly, but they're in the minority. But certainly a bit of an increase in the snow spikes as we push on into towards the end of the first week into the second week of January anyway. Temperature anomalies from the 26th of December to 3rd of January, a little bit below average in the north, a little bit above average down in the south. And precipitation anomalies from the 26th of December to 3rd of January, wetter than normal across most parts of the country. So again, it remains an unsettled week to come. This is how the latest Windflow Map is looking from earthnullschool.net. So we are actually under a little transient ridge of high pressure today. However, more low pressure is waiting in the wings, and that low pressure will be on its way in tonight and tomorrow to bring further wet and windy weather with it. Excuse me. Okay, let's go through the chart data then. Let's have a latest UK Met Euro run. Oh, sorry everybody, this is our latest UK Met Euro run is looking down for midnight on Friday. Wet and windy, low pressure sweeping in from off the Atlantic. And then in Saturday, slightly transient reasonable, but next low brings another battering there for New Year's Eve. That low sticking around the country, giving a very unsettled New Year's Day. Start 2024 will be really unsettled too. And that's the 2nd of January as far as we get to with the UK Met Euro run, taking the low pressure way to the east and bringing in something a little bit cooler from the northwest. There. Icon again looking wet and windy with low pressure dominating the weather on Friday. little bit of a transient ridge as we go through in Saturday, but the next area of low pressure is pushing in for New Year's Eve, bringing further wet and windy weather too. That gets out of the way for New Year's Day. Icon has a sort of slight transient ridge, so that is a little bit drier and cooler anyway for New Year's Day, but it's not long for the next lows are trying to get back in as we get to 2nd of January. Low pressure begins to try and push back in from southwest. However, that is coming in some quite cold air that's sitting to our northeast. You'll notice there is a little bit of a Scandinavian high trying to get going there by the 2nd of January. That's how the upper air temperatures look. So cold air just into the far east and northeast. Scandinavia looking very cold, and Nordic regions very cold, as they have done throughout most of this season so far. And that cold air, you know, is beginning to have a bit of a fight with these milder upper air temperatures trying to come in from the southwest. This is how the KMA is looking. Excuse me once again, everybody. So again, very unsettled here on Friday and into Saturday, quite stormy with that area of low pressure, potentially bringing some heavy rain. That's on quite a southerly track, so there could be some snow on the northern edge with that. That gets out of the way for New Year's Eve. We're a little bit drier, calmer from New Year's Eve into New Year's Day for more wet wind weather comes back in from the Atlantic. And then through the first week of January, it gradually starts getting colder as high pressure builds out to the northwest, turning the wind into a colder north or northeasterly. So starting to become colder the first week of January with the KMA. This is how the GFS midnight run is looking, and again we're looking very unsettled up to the new year with that area of low pressure potentially bringing a battering of gales or severe gales and heavy rain. Another low coming in from southwest there from New Year's Day to 2nd of January. That brings heavy rain in with it as it bumps into cold air. There could be some snow on the leading edge of that. Then a block starts to get going around Iceland Centre Ridge into the UK and Ireland, and then low pressure trying to come up against that, and battery lines are drawn. So we've got the yellow colours here with the upper air temperature where it will be raining, but where we're in these green colours, it can snow if the conditions are correct. So that might be a bit of an indication there for some snow across parts of England and Wales later on next week. Then high pressure really starts strengthening, the block really starts to strengthen to our north and northwest. Gets the wind in to a cold north or northeasterly. Upper air temperatures looking very cold. And then we're off and running to what looks like quite a prolonged spell of cold weather, cold block weather. And eventually we start pulling down some very cold air from the north here on the GFS midnight run. Look at -10 cells iceberg pushing into Scotland with this northerly, which would bring quite a lot of snow with it. That's how we end up with the GFS midnight run, firmly into cold weather. And yeah, so much colder into January there with the GFS midnight run, and that ties in with the AO and the NAO going into a more negative phase. Of course, this is the precipitation forecast based on that GFS midnight run. Let's just have a very quick look at that coming from the weather outlook, of course. So here comes tomorrow's wet wind weather. That will give some quite disruptive snow, maybe blizzards to parts of Scotland. Then we're into those westerly winds, so turning to showers to the end of the week. Next little low zipping through there on Saturday. That brings heavy rain down in the south. Another low coming in for New Year's Eve. That brings heavy snow to the north, wet weather down into the south. Severe gales with that. And then into the new year, we start turning things colder, of course. So the next low coming up from southwest brings the risk of some snow into parts of Wales and the Midlands there. Heavy rain further southwards. And then a proper snow event there on the 3rd of January through much of England and Wales. Very heavy snow there, disruptive snowfalls coming through with that. And then, of course, we're into those north or northeasterly winds via that blocking area of high pressure way to the north and the northwest. So plenty of snow showers coming in with that, plenty of snow showers. And maybe even some longer spells of snow as well. Very wintry conditions there. Let's go back to the ensemble and see how well supported that was. I suspect that's going to be quite a significant outlier, but we'll see. So there it is. That's the green line just there. So it wasn't an outlier, but it was at the colder end of the range. Excuse me again. It was at the colder end of the range, but not an outlier, interestingly. But it was one of the colder ensemble members. Clearly, there is a cooling trend, you'll see from the ensemble meme white line, in both the GFS midnight and both the GFS midnight and 6-7. Ensembles. Right, okay, so that's that one done. Let's have a look at the GFS 6-7 then. Wet and windy here on Friday, and then a little bit of a cold snap trying to get going on Saturday, but we're back into wet windies for New Year's Eve. Low pressure continues to pile in for the first week of January. Nowhere near as strong a blocking signal on the GFS 6Z, so it's nowhere near as cold. It does turn colder with this area of high pressure coming in from the west, so a little bit colder. The main change actually to drier weather there as we're in the extended range with this GFS run. And we eventually take that high pressure away to our east and start bringing low pressure back in from the Atlantic. So nowhere near as interesting with the GFS 6Z as that GFS midnight run was looking. If you enjoyed the video, please do like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much everyone for doing that. Why not drop a comment? Let us know what you think about this and all of our videos. Don't forget to tell your friends about GavsWeatherVids. Thank you so much everybody for doing that. We need to put on around 85 subscribers to get 17.6k. So if you could give us a sub and tell your friends about it to subscribe, it would be incredible. Thank you so much everybody for doing that. Right, here we go then. GEM, with low pressure dominating the weather on Friday, more low pressure into the New Year weekend as well. A little bit of a window of drier weather, slightly cooler weather there for New Year's Day. Then the next low is coming back in on the 2nd of January, but to the south, so it might deliver something a bit wintry on its northern edge. But essentially, everything's still piling in from off the Atlantic, and there's nowhere near as strong a blocking signal with the GEM as we see, for example, with GFS. So, consequently, nowhere near as cold next week as that GFS midnight run was looking. And then ECM again with low pressure dominating weather on Friday and into the New Year weekend as well. Plenty of wet and windy weather coming in about. A little bit of a rechange starts building the country on New Year's Day, giving us something slightly dry and colder. And then this low pressure starts pushing up from the south into that colder. So that looks quite interesting. The 2nd of January, that could be bringing some significant and disruptive snow. With it, look at the upper air temperatures. Battle lines well and truly drawn there. Very bad air to the south, but cold to the north of that area of low pressure. That low pressure moves away to the low country of Germany. We bring the wind back in to a colder northerly through the middle of next week. Upper air temperatures doing a bit of a plummet, and then low pressure starts heading in from off the Atlantic around days 9 and 10, but really struggling to come in as we got this big wedge of cold air sitting to the north. That's how the upper air temperatures look, much of northern Europe well and truly into the freezer there. And that cold air has got into particularly northern and eastern parts of the UK, but milder weather trying desperately get in from off the Atlantic, so it could be some fun and games with that. You see the elongation in the isobars there telling us that there's a weather front and it's struggling as it's coming in to that cold air from the east and from the northeast. This is the precipitation forecast based on the ECM run from Temp.com. Lots of heavy rain piling up from the south, turning to snow across Scotland tomorrow. So a proper snow event for much of Scotland tomorrow. It could be blizzards with those strong winds as well. Then we're into wintry showers, longer spells of rain even into the end of the week. Next weekend, Saturday, brings a further batch of heavy rain in from the Atlantic. Again, that turns to snow, significant snow potentially across Scotland, with the rain further southwards. That gets out of the way, so we get to New Year's Day, we turn drier, and then up comes this low from the south, and look what happens with that. The snow then starts to develop across England and Wales, rain down in the far south, but through much of Wales, the Midlands, eastern England, significant heavy and disruptive snow there on that ECM midnight run. That gets out of the way, and we finish up with those cool winds from the northwest, and then low pressure trying to come back in from the Atlantic by day 10. And again, that brings the risk of some disruptive snow in with it. So gradually, we could be inching our way into a cold spell here through early January. We'll have to wait and see how this develops excuse me, once more over the next few days. ECM ensembles, these are the options on the table. Within the ECM ensemble day 4 day temporary Icelandic Met Office gets us to the 5th of January. 24 members of the ECM ensembles with blocking around Iceland and Greenland. Low pressure is to our east northeast. Winds are coming in from a cold northeasterly direction with that. So potentially cold and wintry at day 10 there with the ECM ensembles. That does include the control and operational runs. We've got 14 with high pressure blocking in the Atlantic. Low pressure to our east. Again, that will bring in pretty chilly winds at the very least, maybe cold winds from the northeast, and 13 with low pressure over to the east country, a mid-Atlantic ridge, and again that could be rather cold and maybe quite wintry as well. And then 2 weeks time, these are the options that we've got. They look very interesting. This gets us to the 10th of January. 19 members of the ECM ensembles with blocking around Greenland, and low pressure is to our east. Winds coming in from the cold northeasterly direction. We've got 17 with low pressure north of Scotland. There is a block in the Atlantic, but that's keeping the wind more from a west northwesterly. That's slightly milder. And then 15 with high pressure again. Excuse me, once more in the Atlantic, go towards Greenland. Low pressure is to our southeast, and again we bring in the wind from an easterly direction with that. So if you put the 15 there together with the 19 there, a strong majority in favour of being really potentially quite cold and blocked there by the second week of January. How interesting. Looks like we're in for quite a exciting new year here, maybe. CFS V2 finally, these are 500 millibar high size breakdown. Its week periods, the first week period takes from 26th of 7th to 1st of January. So the next week has a low pressure dominating weather, but gradually pushing its way eastwards, allowing something a little bit cooler to start coming in potentially from the northwest. Week 2 is going to be the 2nd to the 8th of January with high pressure out to west. Low pressure is to the east. Winds again coming from more of a northwesterly direction. With that, could be a little bit cold snap potential. We have got to get that high pressure a bit further northwards to bear to go properly cold, but it will certainly be cooler anyway with more of a northwesterly. This is week 3. It's the 9th to 15th of January. Low pressure centred over Denmark and southern Scandinavia. High pressure over towards Newfoundland. You would think we're likely bringing the wind at the very least from the northwest. Maybe if we could get this high pressure to bear, maybe from the north. So that's a little bit of there's a little bit of cold potential there into the second week of January with that. And then week 4 though goes back to milder conditions. 16th to 2nd of January, high pressure then over the continent. Low pressure is away to the northwest. That return wind back to southwesterly. So it remains to be seen here, but there are interesting developments afoot, I think, certainly within the model output. We're done. So if you enjoyed the video, please can you like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much everybody for doing that. Why not drop a comment? Let us know what you think about this and all of our videos. And don't forget to tell your friends about GavsWeatherVids. Thank you so very much everybody. Thank you so very much, everybody, for doing that. And thank you so much for putting up with my coughing throughout the video as well. Just come on, yesterday, you know, this cough. I felt all right yesterday, though. I was well for Christmas Day, but I got a little tick cough. Then today, I'm feeling properly starting to setting. So Gav has something. As I say, there's definitely so much going about this winter, you know. It's inevitable that people are going to pick things up. Oh, I'll survive, I'm sure. I'll be having a little drop of honey and maybe magic water or whiskey or brandy or something, I don't know, a little bit later on, but I shall survive, I am sure. Just to say, with all of this, so because we've been through the Christmas bit, I know things are looking very interesting, because I'm just going to put a caveat though, which I should have done earlier on, because we are in the Christmas period, we would have seen a significant drop in the amount of observational data being fed into these models from aircraft, you know, because there wouldn't have been that many aircraft flying on Christmas Day. That will start to feed out the system now that, you know, flights will get back to normal today. Though that will start to feed out the system. I just wonder whether that 6Z GFS run going significantly milder and less blocked, might that be the observational data starting to get back into the starting to get back into the system. So it's possible these blocking signals have been related to lack of observational data. However, we'll find out. By tomorrow, everything will be back on in terms of the amount of data being fed into these models. So if these models are still showing significant appreciable levels of blocking tomorrow, then it's game on. And the chase for much colder and potentially wintry weather will begin. Right, okay, so you enjoy the rest of your Boxing Day. Just to tell you what's coming up tomorrow, you're going to have a 6 AM UK weather forecast. We're going to have Strat to watch. I think I'm going to be live streaming. It depends how this bug develops, I suppose. If I was to lose my voice or get quite poorly with it, then perhaps I won't stream tomorrow, but hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be streaming our 10 to 14 days. But if not, it'll just be a regular video upload, and I shall let everybody know tomorrow. You enjoy the rest of your Boxing Day and have a fantastic time whatever you're doing, and thank you so much for tuning in on this Boxing Day to this half an hour video yet again. Thank you so much everybody for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your day, and thanks for watching. Bye for now.